Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight for our regular Thursday night Zoom fellowship. Tonight, we are blessed to have with us Kenny C. And Kenny is, most of you know Kenny, but Kenny is an amazing guy, man. He does a lot of really cool stuff. He's my Bohemian Rhapsody. He does, he does, he's an accomplished musician and he's dedicated his life to teaching young people uh, music, and he's like a machine with it. He finds kids equipment when they can't afford it. He finds scholarships for them to do their thing. All at the same time, he's doing the Christian deal and he's become a real force. And we're so pleased to have him with us. He will be speaking in Springfield, Ohio, August 20.
Springfield, Missouri.
Missouri. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, he'd probably like it if we were in Springfield, Ohio. But
Springfield's really close.
yeah, in Springfield, Missouri, for the Remnant Rising 2025 conference, which I hope y'all will get there and be a part of it. I do want to say tonight, money, do not allow money to get in the way of you coming out there. We have had a few people who have donated scholarships to get people out there. So what you need to do is contact me and say, I really can't afford to purchase a ticket, and I will work with you, and I will see what we can do after we talk. And I don't want anybody to really miss out on this. So don't, please don't let that be the only stumbling block for you getting out there. It's going to be a great conference. We're really, really looking forward to it. I also want to thank everybody who's supporting me in my effort to quit smoking. I have not smoked now in 8 days.
Awesome. Good job, Mike.
Yeah, I've been trying to kick this monkey off my back for a lot of years, and it's going real good, and I'm fully committed to it. So thank you guys for that. And thank you for the 20 some people who have donated to our capital campaign through GoFundMe. We're about 23% of our goal, and it's a life and death thing for Hear the Watchmen going into next year. So we're grateful for your help. So anyway, without further ado, uh, Kenny, uh, I'd like you to talk tonight a little bit about how God moved you to do what you do. And also, a lot of people, I was on Dave Hodges' show today, which will air, I think, tonight or tomorrow. And he's really into frequencies. And I know you're really behind that and doing some really cool stuff with that. So if you could talk about that, that'd be great. The floor is yours, brother.
Awesome. At some point, I may share a screen. I don't know if it'll pull up on here to show you some things that I have brewing. I have some things I can do with that. I think I might be able to. We'll see if we get going on this and see if that's possible. But yeah, hey, I'm Kenny C. My organization, my ministry is The Rock with Kenny C. I'm a music teacher. I've been teaching music for about 40 years, over 40 years now, which people they always shock and be like, but I started teaching very young. I started teaching, kind of fell into it with a teacher that had to move away, and I this place of music, they didn't have any teachers left, and they all basically assigned me the teacher at 15. We're like, you're the teacher, and I was like, okay, well, let's do this. So I didn't know what I was doing, but I figured it out and went that way. I ended up going to Berklee College of Music in Boston, Massachusetts, which was an amazing experience. I was setting on my stuff. I was raised a Christian. I was baptized in a Presbyterian church. I got sprinkled when I was a little kid. I was like about fourth grade. I did the whole thing. I went through it. People told me they thought I was going to be a minister growing up, and somewhere along the line, some things changed, and I decided I want to be a rock star, and that was a whole other realm of thing. And so, I really got into guitar. Part of my testimony is that when I was about 13, 14 years old, my older brother, he died in a car accident. He was 17. And that kind of changed a lot for me. My parents were getting divorced. I was brought in. It was so there was a whole lot of turmoil at 13, 14. That kind of changed paths for me, and a lot of it was I inherited my brother's music collection, so it was a lot of the rock stuff from the 80s, the early 80s and stuff. So everybody you can think of, that's what I kind of got into. I started going along with it. I was like, oh, this is cool. I liked it. Got into playing music, felt it was really cool. And as time goes on and stuff, I kept getting into bigger things. I toured with major bands. I've had music on television shows, movies, MTV, VH. I've done all kinds of things like that, and had some pretty cool success with that. Um, but I always knew something was not completely. I was never completely full. I didn't. Something wasn't there for me, and when it really came into place for me about, I want to say about 2009, I'd taken a job with a world-renowned Journey tribute band. And when I mean Journey, I mean the band Journey, Don't Stop Believing, all this stuff. And the lead singer, this guy I knew was going to be brought in to be the new singer for Journey. And he started writing songs with them, did some stuff. Something fell out with it. He didn't do it. The guy that's with Journey now, Arnell, took over. But this friend of mine, he asked me, he says, "Hey man, you want to go on the road with?" I was like, "Sure, man." It was an opportunity. I mean, I was like 39 years old. I was getting to go out and tour and play arenas to thousands of people, and it was everything I'd worked for, and it was my life. And it's really interesting how that kind of worked because I felt like God let me to go see all that because it put me in a place where I started seeing things and was like, this isn't exactly what I thought it was, and it was a lot more darkness and a lot of stuff was going on behind the scenes that I didn't see as much. You knew it was there from watching things, but I got to really see some of that background stuff. And some things I can talk about, some things I can't because just because I told people, I was like, there's some things that you see and you're like, I'm not going to talk about that anymore. But for me, at the same time this was going on, I was touring, I was playing for thousands of people. My personal life was kind of in shambles. My wife had decided she wanted to get divorced. I was touring. My kids were in one state. I was basically living in people's houses across the country doing stuff. And so it was Kennesaw, Georgia, in summer of 2009. We're playing a show that was supposed to have 15,000 people at it, and 35,000 people showed up. And it was way bigger than they thought it was going to be. And it was just one of those moments where I was like, this is the biggest thing I've ever done. And we had to have police escort us to the stage because we couldn't get to it. It was crazy. And I remember getting ready to go on stage, and I told the lead singer, who was the guy who ran the whole show, I said, "Man, this is what I've been waiting. This is my whole life. I've been waiting to do this. Is incredible, man. I'm never going to leave this band." And I kid you not, the minute I said that, God's like, "I got different plans for you, brother. I got really different plans for you." I was on stage, and there's something like I tell people, I didn't write the songs, but there was something about being up there and singing Don't Stop Believing. Everybody knows the words. Everybody knows the song. They're jumping up and down. And in my head, I looked out and I was like, I've worked my entire life for this. This is what I said, this is it. I made it. I'm never going to leave this. I told the guys working on stage, I'm with you, man. I'm not going to leave. There's no reason for me to leave. I'm going to do this. And I was looking out over the crowd, and the people were jumping up and down, singing Don't Stop Believing, and everything just slowed down in time for me. And I remember being like, what is going on? Excuse me. And the crowds were bouncing, and all of a sudden, a voice in my head said, "This is not what you're meant to do." And I was like, what? This is what I've spent my entire life. I went to music school. I played in bands my whole life. And I was like, and everybody, it's because funny now people go, "You think God spoke to you on stage?" No, I know God spoke to me on that stage. I absolutely know for a fact because I couldn't not listen to that. To me, when it hit, I knew it. I come off the stage and knew it. I felt something had transformed with me. And I told the lead singer, I said, "I know what I just said about an hour and a half ago, but I'm putting in my notice and I'm going to be having to leave this band." And they were like, what in the world just happened? And I couldn't tell them at that moment, yeah, I think God spoke to me and I'm out of here, guys. I think this is time for me to do something else. Later on, they've heard the story and they knew it. They were like, oh, so that's what happened that night. Yeah, that's what happened that night. So it was a big change for me, put me in a place where I just realized I started, I had to do something more. And, it's funny when I made that decision, I tell people all the time, people, especially bringing new people to Christ, they're always like, yeah, it's amazing. I said, it is amazing. But I'm going to tell you, once you make that decision, you're going to get bombarded and you're going to have demonic oppression. You're going to have so much stuff that it's like, oh yeah, let's see how you handle this. And you get thrown everything. And I look back at my time and go, wow, I really went through a lot of stuff. I didn't realize, but it's just relationships and all this stuff. But he had his place for me. He knew what he was doing. So it put me where I am. And, I found a great church, which is really funny, around 2013. And the church is called Journey Church. Of all things it could be, Journey Church. I kid not. So I'm still with them. It's still my church. But when I toured on the road, everybody saw that and they're like, come on, dude, you're going to Journey Church. Yeah. So I got lots of jokes. Hey, don't stop believing, Kenny, wheel in the sky and all that kind of stuff. I was like, man, it is. It was funny to me because I realized I was like, okay, look, God has a sense of humor, man. And it was a good one for that. But it stuck to me in my heart. It made me realize what I was supposed to be doing. It's like, there's more to this. And at that time, I didn't know really what it was. I was like, I was teaching again. I was teaching full time, and but I was kind of that was my thing. I was going to church. I felt really satisfied. I was doing small stuff. I had a little band with some of my people from my church. We played around. We played like weddings and corporate parties. And I was really happy with stuff. And in 2018, another Journey tribute band that was very big that was touring around the country called me up, and their guitar player could not make a tour, and they had like 4 days before they were going out, and they were going to have to cancel it. And so they called me, dude, is there any way you could possibly come do this? Yeah, 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 I could do it. I could do it. I hadn't done it in a long time, but this song's been in my head, so relearned them up. They picked me up on a tour bus, got on a tour bus, went to Washington D.C. Great venue there. Got on stage, opening song, separate ways. I see keyboard hits. I'm playing the guitar, and I had a heart attack right on stage, right there, plain as day. Now, I'd had some heart issues and knew there was some stuff, so I already had nitro, did different things with me. I'd had some stents over the years, but it was one of those things that when it hit, I knew it. And I was just talking, I just saw the guy, I just saw these guys from that band about 2 weeks ago for the first time since when I went on tour with them in 2018, because they don't live near me. They tour somewhere else, but they happened to come back in my room, and we got to talk a little bit. They're like, man, that was one of those things where they didn't realize how bad a situation it was. But I have a super hard. I'm a work ethic. I am like one of these guys. I have to really be out to not do something. And to me, the guy that couldn't make that tour, he had a special needs teenage daughter that some things he needed to take care of. And I was like, okay, this band's depending on me. If I don't go out and do this, I'm not sure what's going to happen. So even though I had the heart attack, I took some stuff and I was like, you know what? I don't think it was that bad. I'm still here. So I actually finished out their tour for 5 days, and I played more shows. I went on the road. Now it's funny to talk back to them. They're like, dude, man, what were you thinking with that? Because I got back from that tour and slept a day, then went to see my cardiologist, and he's checking my blood. He's like, dude, you've got your troponin levels from 7 days ago. You had a heart attack 7 days ago. I said, yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. He's like, why are you just here now? And I was like, well, I was on tour and I couldn't stop. The tour was going to shut down, and that's the way I felt. I was like, this was their livelihood, this was their job, and I agreed to do it. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to finish it out, and I did. So thankfully I made it through that, but in the process of doing that, I ended up having to have a triple bypass in 2018, and that was a pretty scary time for me. Things kind of, I wasn't sure what was going on with it, but God was really strong in my life, brought a lot of people to my attention. And being in the hospital at that time period was when I really started to meet a lot of the people from Skywatch, because I was in a hospital for almost a month. Excuse me. And I didn't have nothing to do but like read and hooked up the tubes. And so I would always be talking about certain books I was reading. And a lot of them were Defender books. And so Joe Horn saw it. And I didn't know Joe. I knew them from online. I knew all of them from just online. They knew who I was, but and so Joe had contacted me and said, "Hey man, when you get out of this thing going on with it, I would really like to talk with you." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, Joe Horn. I love this guy, man." I mean, I was a huge Tom Horn fan. I don't think people realize how big of a Tom Horn fan I was, but I have books from Tom Horn that are out of print that even Skywatch doesn't have anymore. And I've showed it to them, and I said, "I will send these to you." They're like, "No, they're a better place with you, man. Keep them there." So I really was into him really early on. So so Joe, got to talk to me. We got to be good friends, and we started hitting off. And it kind of put me in a place to be closer with everybody at Skywatch. And And then I ended up meeting Derek and Sharon Gilbert. And I'm gonna tell you what, man, that these people, I can't even explain the love I have for these two, man. It's something else. I was blessed to be able to meet them in person at a conference in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. It was an in-person conference. Um, and it was an interesting situation with that because it was one of the few conferences I went to where they were still this church was no mask, and this was right in the heart of all that stuff going on. When you couldn't walk outside, you couldn't go anywhere. I went to this church and boom, it was like, okay, this is amazing. I loved it. It was a great opportunity. I got to meet Derek and Sharon. We got talking about a lot of stuff. And they all of a sudden decided before they flew out that the on Sunday that we had breakfast and they offered me a job. They wanted me to come work for them and move to Crane, Missouri and be part of the Gilbert House stuff. They were just starting to look at they were going to start branching out and I mean that was a dream come true. I was like I have to go out there. And I told Gidget I was like I'm going to have to go out and see what's going on with this. So I got to go out and spend a week. I stayed at the house with the Gilberts. It was an amazing experience. I can't even explain it. I tell people all the time, I said, people you see Derek and Sharon, and they're always like, this is my best friend. It's myself. That's them. There is nothing fake about that. That is the way they are. Sitting around drinking special coffees and stuff, and they're like encyclopedias. I'm just sitting here like, what in the world? I mean, it was an amazing experience. And I was like, I really wanted to take that job. And I got to go to Skywatch and meet Joe and all the family. And it was really special at that time because Tom was still alive. I got to meet Tom, and not only did I get to meet him, but I got to see him on the farm. I got to see him at Whispering Ponies Ranch. I got to see him driving a tractor around, and it made me love that family even more because I was like, this is the most real people I'd ever been around. And they had this great the Whispering Ponies Ranch. I don't know if you know about it, but if you don't, you should look into it. It's a really amazing organization. But I got to say, and one thing Joey told me, he's like, if you come, because and around 2020, everything got shut down. I was supposed to go to a conference out there for Skywatch, and everything got shut down. I was so sad. I was like, man, I'm not gonna. So Joey told me 2 years before. They says, bro, if you ever get out here, I'm gonna make sure you have dinner with my dad. And I was like, all right, we'll see, man. I didn't think it would ever happen, but so I'm in Crane, Missouri, and we go in, we done spent the day at the Skywatch tapings, all this stuff. And they bring me out. And here's Tom sitting at the end of the table. There's Nita, and they bring me over and open the chair up, and they're like, "You're gonna sit next to Tom." And I was like, "Come on, man!" So they put me next to Tom. So which was just in itself. But you know what's great about it is I was like trying really hard not to fanboy on Tom Horn because I was like, I could spit out all his books and everything. I'm like, man, but I did really good. But it was really amazing to sit and talk with him because he was so down to earth. And it made me even love him even more because I was like, this guy's the real deal. This guy's the real deal. He's not, I just thought it was great. It really solidified that family for me. But it was really funny because there was a part where I'm listening to something, realizing that I can never talk about what I'm hearing. And I'm looking at Tom like this. I'm looking over here, and here's Tom right here. And I'm looking, I was like, yeah. And I turn, and all the rest of Skywatch people, it's like 15 of them. Everybody you can think of that was on this team at that time. Josh Peck, and there was a whole bunch of them all down the line. And they're looking at me, and I look back at them, and I'm like this. And they all look at me, and they go like this. Yeah, now you're understanding. I was like, it was one of those coolest moments ever. And I was just like, I got to hear Tom Horn tell a story that I think it has been talked about since then, but at the time period it had not, and it was really cool. I felt very special and privileged that they trusted me for that. So that was a big thing for me. So yeah, so I was like I said, I got an opportunity to go. I could not take the job with the Gilberts because my health was not doing very well. I actually had a second heart attack in 2020. And on stage again. I was playing a show for right when everything was shut down. It was a streaming concert online. You can actually see the video of it. It's a much worse one than the first one. You can tell I don't feel good. People were like, something's not right with Kenny. Oh no, my Fitbit watch was on and I was playing guitar and I felt just rushed through me. And at the end of the concert, when they finished up, they cut the stream off. And I looked over, I said, I'm pretty sure I just had another heart attack. And they're like, what are you talking about? And I looked at my watch and my normal heart rate was about 77, 80. And I looked at the thing and it had went to 220 and my heart rate was pumping at 220. So whatever happened, I had a blockage that it just went And that was basically the part that really got me out of. I had to stop playing shows at that point. Within the next couple of months, I was out. That's where my heart stuff started getting really worse. I started having a lot of heart failure. That's why when I went to go to the Gilberts, and I was like, man, I want to take this job so badly, and I just couldn't. I couldn't move out there with my medical situation. But that's the thing. God had different plans for me at that point. Because it really, at that point, that I'll tell you something, this is really funny. And I don't know if everybody remembers that, but I've been on here before, probably 3 years ago. Mike called me up, asked me to be on here. What's really funny, and I tell people, and I joke about this, I don't even know if Mike realizes this, but Mike, when he asked me to be on that time, I'd never done anything. I hadn't spoken at any conferences. I hadn't done anything at all. Mike had seen pictures of me joking with Joe Horn on the Skywatch desk. So he was under the impression that I had been on Skywatch TV. I had not. I had not at all. And I remember thinking, I was like, I think Mike thinks I've been on Skywatch. And I was like, do I tell him the situation? I say, you know what? I'm going with it. We're going with this because it's going to happen. It's what's going to happen with it. So I have to say back, look at Mike. Mike actually gave me one of my first real breaks of being anything with doing some stuff like this. So I'm really excited about the Remnant Rising and get to speak at a Hair of the Watchmen conference because I have followed Mike for many years now. And he was one of those ones that was doing this way before anybody else. I remember buying the DVDs of the conference, the spiritual warfare conference with, oh my gosh, my brain ain't working right now. No, who am I thinking
Rust
about?
is dark.
Rust is dark. Thank you. That was one of the first places I got that DVD that has Russ and Shelley, and it's an amazing. It's one of my favorites. I still keep it here and tell people all the time. I was like, and I think you guys did a sale on it maybe a year or so ago that it went back out again. It was I told everybody, I said, don't miss this one. This is a really good one. You need to own it. It's an owner. So I've been really blessed with that to catch in with Mike on all this in the background and stuff. So yeah, I'm excited. But it's funny. I ended up about the time Mike got me come on this stuff. Dr. Mike Spalding, who, gosh, I love that guy. That family too is awesome. Mike and Kathy. He called me up. I'd visited the Go Therefore conference in 2021, and just as an attendee, just hanging out, and that whole atmosphere. That's the first place I met Jamie Walden in person, and Carl Gallups, and David Hebner, and God, man, there's so many of them. It was just this a massive amount of cool people there, and I loved it. And the next year, Mike Spalding called me up and said, "Hey, Kenny, God's put it on my heart. I think you're supposed to come speak at this conference." And I'm like, Mike, that is not what I do. I teach music, I play guitar, I do my stuff. But he's like, no, man, I'm telling you. I said, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I really didn't. I was like, because I was really into all the, look, I was a huge fan of Mike Heiser. I took his 2 year certificate course before he died, which was really an amazing thing. I took it when it wasn't free. It's free now. Anybody can go on Awakening and get it for free, which is amazing to me. But I remember it was about $2,000 but it was worth it. It was during the thing. I was like, it's Mike Heiser. I took online classes, and everybody's like, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna be a preacher, man? Are you gonna be a pastor? What's going on? No, man, I'm a music teacher. Why are you learning all this stuff with all these DCW and all this thing into it? I said, because man, I'm a Christian. I need to know what I'm talking about. I need to know when people ask me questions, because guess what? They're going to try to tear it down. I got to know what I'm talking. That's why I tell people all the time, you really need to have that kind of stuff. And there's no excuse anymore, because there's so much stuff you can learn from, even just from the conferences and get their DVDs or streaming, or even the Awakening School of Theology now. It's completely free. You can't say, well, I just want you might not have the time, but you better make it and find out what's going on with that. So, yeah, so I ended up speaking at Go Therefore, and that's when, in 2022, a couple weeks before, literally a couple weeks before I went, I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to speak about. And I had another voice in my head. God goes, dude, almost like McFly knocked on my head. Like, what are you doing, dude? And I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to speak about. It's like music. You're going to talk about frequencies, man. Why haven't you figured this? And it hit. And I was like, okay. So that started me down the path of learning a lot about musical frequencies and stuff. And I got to speak. And the first time I spoke at Go Therefore, I had just been told by my cardiologist that there was nothing more they could do. I had more blockages, and surgery couldn't fix it. I was going to have to take medication. At this point, I couldn't walk my dogs. I couldn't I couldn't do anything. I couldn't exercise. I was very, very unhealthy. I was slowly dying. I knew it was a matter of time. I just couldn't do anything. And I was like, okay, I'm not playing shows. God protected me and gave me music and allowed me to teach, and I've always had a job with that. And that's I can't say anything more than God's hand is in all of that, because since everything shut down in 2020, I went to virtual lessons. I've never had less than 70 students a week that I teach. And that's been now for 4 years. Never. Student leaves, student comes in. And everybody goes, how do you keep that? I was like, dude, that's God. God, you be faithful and God will take care of you. And that's what I tell people all the time. I said, I can't argue with this is what I do, and I love my job. But yeah, when I was at the Go Therefore conference, Dr. Sherry Tenpenny saw me speak and came up to me, which was a huge deal. And I mean, like, she's so big, and I was like really shocked. And she's like, Kenny, I can fix your heart failure problems. I was like, well, my own cardiologist said he couldn't. So I wasn't feeling very hopeful. And I was like, and all I knew her from was from mostly her vaccination issues and stuff like that. What she was talking about was not anything I'd done. So I, I went home. I took the thing I didn't know about the treatments called ECP, external counterpulsation. I did some research on it. I looked into it. And the thing is that for me to do this, I had to move to Cleveland, Ohio for 2 months, and I had to shut my business down. I was really in this place like, what am I going to do? I'm going to lose my entire business. All these people are not going to come back when I come back. I don't have the money to pay for all this stuff, and I'm going to tell you right now. I mean, that's like I said, that me meeting her changed my life completely in terms of my health, because I went up there, and all of a sudden, all these people that were associated with stuff. And I mean, look, I'm just going to say this. I wasn't planning, I didn't think I was going to have enough money to pay for all the stuff onto it. Sherry Penny brought me up there and basically covered about $15,000 worth of treatment for free for me. She wouldn't charge me. And that's just something, that's the kind of woman she is. She's a really, I mean, I tell people all the time, I can't say enough good things about her. And she did that for me for that first one. And so at that time, then I had no job. I wasn't teaching. I was basically by myself. God kept putting people in my path, man. I ran into a guy online that I hadn't seen since we were kids. And he saw me talking about this, and he's like, "Hey, man, don't get a bed and breakfast place or something to rent." I was like, "Well, I need something so I can cook my food, do stuff." He goes, "My kids, they're out. We're just they're out of the house. We've got space. Come live with us." This is somebody I hadn't seen since, I mean, I knew him from kindergarten to about middle school and hadn't seen him in years. His brother had seen me at the House of Blues play one time, and that's about the only connection I'd had with his family. And yeah, I mean, they didn't really know me. His wife didn't know me at all, and they invited me to their house, and it was amazing because they were a great Christian family. I got plugged into a great church in Cleveland while I was there. So, God has his hands into it. No, the thing that really amazes me about this, when I tell people all the time, Mike Spalding, he messaged me and he said, Kenny, I know this is a pretty big deal that, this situation with Dr. Tenpenny. And he says, but it's got more to it than you realize. And I was like, what do you mean? He says, listen, she was not supposed to be there when you spoke. And I was like, what do you mean she was supposed to? He goes, a day before, she was not supposed to be there when you spoke. She didn't know anything about me, anything like that. She had called him and said, hey, I got to change the plans. I'm going to come stay tonight at the hotel and do my speech tomorrow, which is when I was speaking also, and then I'll be leaving. It put her right there when I was there. And the timing of it, I just like, so he said, this is what Mike Spaulding, he says, brother, man, God has his hand all over this. Now, I want to tell you what, I mean, the treatments and stuff aren't cheap, and they don't take insurance for a reason. I found out mainly the big reason is that you can't control it when it's not if it's covered by insurance. Sometimes you can't control what happens with it or how much, and it's all kinds of things with it. But it was a good situation. I had a lot of people come to me and help me. The Gilberts, I can't even say, man, I'm telling you, look, they sent me money and I cried, man, because it was like they did all these things for me. A lot of people that, some people don't know, some people do know, the Fall brothers, Justin and Wes. I mean, these are people I'd met one time in my life, and they called me up and said, brother, God's told me to send you this money. And this is what's amazing. I was gone for 2 months in Cleveland, and I had no job, and I was working, and we had to have food and all that stuff like that, and do things like that. When I came back, and what's funny is a week before I came back, I actually came down to hear the Watchmen in where was that one at? It was in Kentucky.
Like Louisville, I think.
Yes, that was the one. That's the first place I've met Mike in person, Mike and Jeannie. Um, I got to come down there. And the only reason I got to come down there was because the Gilberts called me and said, you need to come. I was going to buy tickets and anything, but I couldn't afford a hotel room and stuff. And they covered me again, man. I tell people all the time, like, they got made sure. I had another couple that drove me from Cleveland because my health was still not great at the time. And they got me down there, which was a blessing because, I mean, that conference here, the Watchmen was fantastic. It was really great. I love that was the one y'all had at David Heavener's church and stuff. Gosh, that was fun. That was a really fun. That was a good one. Oh, we're getting a bad storm here. I can hear it outside. Okay, that sounds terrible. Ooh, that's scary. Ooh, it sounds like hail out there. Okay, so yeah, so like I said, that I got to come to hear the Watchmen calls, all this stuff. But when I got back, and I really did, I was worried. I was like, man, how am I going to get back on this? All my students came back. The ones that didn't come back, new people filled into it. Within a week's time, I was full back onto it. And I left with my bank account. And when I came back, it was at the exact same amount that I left 2 months per. And you tell me that. You tell me how God works like that. I didn't do anything extra, man. It was it. It was like all this played into it. And I tell people all the time, I was like, and that's when people sometimes be like, man, you're really big on this Jesus stuff. And I'm like, bro, it's everything. And that's part of why I call my organization The Rock. A lot of people knew me as being a rock musician. I had really long hair. You can see videos of me when I was a teenager, and I toured and did all this stuff. And, I mean, when I say long hair, I had like 3 foot hair. It was crazy. So, but people know me that they knew I was this rock guy, and it really was one of those things when I was out in Crane visiting with Derek and Sharon. We were driving around, and Derek was like talking about Dr. Judd Burton, who is a dear friend of mine now. And back then I didn't know who he was. And he says, hey, Kenny, have you ever talked to, Judd talks about the Matthew 16:18, upon this rock I will build my church. He ain't talking about Peter, man. He's talking about that mountain. And he's talking about this stuff. And I was like, whoa, what? We started hearing it hit, and I was like, okay, this is really good stuff. So that triggered me for that stuff. And I swear, and after that, I was like, you know what? I'm going to call him The Rock with Kenny C. And I said, The Rock is a foundation, man. It is, but it's got this two play because people still in these areas don't know on sometimes they don't know that, my background of stuff. They just they know I was the rock guy. So, but all my logos and stuff, like this is just a logo with Kenny C, which Jeffrey Martis that does stuff for Skywatch did my logo. He does a big thing. But I've got a logo that has a picture of me, a cartoon picture, but all my things have me with my guitar and a Bible. And I make sure that people, and when people see that, they always ask, they're like, what's going on with this, man? What's this thing with it? I said, look, man, you can't have what God did for me and you not be moved by it, and know that I know that God basically put me in this place to say, it was like, okay, I've done this. He goes, and it was like, and I still think about it. It was like, what are you going to do for me? What are you going to do for me, Kenny? And that's where I had to kind of, get into that. It was amazing. It was amazing. I tell people all the time, I couldn't bring that together. And it's part of the reason I never worry about, I don't panic. I don't stress. I know God has me in these things. And that's why I think stuff, even with like, Mike, I've already been looking through my stuff because I was already planning. I was like, I'm going to donate some money to Mike. Don't tell him yet, but I'm going to do it because I love what y'all's organization. And I do that. And we tell you what's really great about that. I have found that whenever I give, it doesn't matter what I give out. I give out all the time, and I have a orphanage in Uganda that I deal with. I'm on the board of directors. I do a lot of stuff, but I never worry about the money situation, because if somebody tells me I can be at a fast food restaurant and there's a lady working at, and I can see she's stressed, and I'm looking at her and I say, hey, what's going on with you today? Hey, I just got a lot of stuff going on. I said, well, I'm gonna tell you what. God just told me I need to bless you, and I give her $100, and she's like freaking out, and I'm like, it's not my money. It's not my money anyways. It's God's money, and He said, I was like, okay. He's like, bless her right now. And what was amazing with that experience, this was said, this is really interesting. It was a Long John Silver's of all places. But this lady, she was so sweet, and I just loved it. And we took a picture together, and she was on Facebook's like, this guy, The Rock with Kenny C, and he just made my life. He made me so happy and all that stuff. But what's funny is that experience got her. The people at the Long John Silver's corporate office saw it, got a thing with it, and then had me in their corporate newsletter with her talking about this aspect of what I was doing and this kind of ministry thing of just doing it. What I found out the next time I went back in there, she wasn't there. Some people said, "Man, you don't know how bad that was." Exactly what she needed. She was getting ready to lose her house. She needed that money was right then for it. And I say, God told me that's what I had to do for it. So when God says it, man, I'm telling you, you better listen. You better listen. Don't hold back on it. Don't be like, well, I got to pay a couple bills this month. No, 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 that ain't how it works. God says, I will take care of you. Do what you got to do. So that's fun. I know I'm all over the place today. I'm trying to figure out where we're going with this. Talking about frequencies and stuff. But I will say this: when I come to Missouri, I will be talking a lot. I've got a presentation I just did with Tom Dunn. They had the Strangelands conference, and that was an amazing conference. And I'm gonna tell you what, if Tom ever has one of these and you can go, the streaming's fantastic, but some of the deliverance ministry stuff they do is you just can't get that from watching it. You have to be there. You have to be there. And it was moving. And there was stuff that I told people that I know that could be aired, it couldn't even be shared on the stream because there was stuff I saw there from people talking that, I mean, I just thought I couldn't believe it. But it made me realize that how much evil is still prevalent in this world with abortion and all these things, man. And I'm telling you, I saw a video at that conference. This guy was talking about stuff, and it was gut wrenching. I was like, I don't know anybody. I was like, I don't know how you can watch that and have any other aspect than be pro-life and there's no other way. It can't be. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's nothing. And I see people try to fight me on it. Even progressive Christians. Oh no, man, we do this stuff. I said, no, bro. I want you to. You need to see this. If you see this, you see buckets of babies that have been dismembered and putting stuff in their names, and you know who they are. I was like, you will never be the same, ever, ever. And a lot of churches are afraid to talk about that stuff. They don't want. They don't. They're just too afraid to get into that, and it's a shame because it's a big thing. I mean, well, you guys are in this realm where y'all understand, man. Planned Parenthood and a lot of that stuff is child sacrifice, it is blood sacrifice. They are doing that kind of stuff. I know it's for a fact, and it's what's so funny. Some people are like, hey, man, you have a really interesting ministry because I would talk to people and I deal with people. So most of my, like I say, a lot of my ministry. Lights are blinking. Hope the power stays on. So, I say, yeah, but I have what I've learned over the years is that my ministry is very much an encouragement ministry. I'm really about trying to bring people, look, we know there's terrible things. There's a lot of stuff. And some people, I get it. Some things, when I get on social media, sometimes I look at stuff and go, well, I'd be sad and upset if this is all I saw all day long was this kind of stuff. So I made it a purpose for me was like, I'm not going to go that route. Mine's going to be always about, it's going to be encouragement, our lives are pretty amazing stuff and what we have, and we don't know how much time we have. I personally don't think we have a whole lot of time left here. I'm okay with that. I think that's great. I hope so. But while we're here, we still got to work with people, and I mean, every day I'm amazed sometimes when I watch things on Facebook where I got suppressed for talking about helping people. And I can flip through and videos will come up with people doing the most insane things I've ever seen. People being murdered. I mean, these are videos on Facebook. And I'm like, how can you not be affected by that? And I realize, I think people have just been completely just like, I don't know. I pray about it every day because it bothers me immensely when I see this stuff. I'm just like, man. So I made a conscious effort that I was not going to, anything I do with it's going to be, I want people to fun. So I do a lot of memeing things. I learned that social media itself is a big algorithmic crap hole. And, honestly, I learned that what's the stuff with it. So, I started doing the meme thing just because it was kind of silly and stuff. But I made money with it for a while until people got upset that I was doing it and was mad that they weren't hadn't figured it out, and I got shut down from that. But you know what? I look at it like this: I had a great run for a while with it, and that extra money came in, paid for my last year's medical expenses. It's God just plays that stuff. So, I looked at people and honestly, I could probably not post any more memes at all because it makes me zero money now. And I can show people there's nothing left. It's gone. They killed it. But I still do it because people write me and people who aren't even Christians. I cross a lot of boundaries with people who aren't Christians, who aren't saved, who come and say, I love what you're doing, man. I go to your page and I feel thing. And these are people that aren't even. I've had full on atheist people, satanic people. They're like, I don't know, dude. I love you. I think you give me hope on something. And to me, that's that seed planting that everybody needs to be doing. Of just doing that stuff. It's like I said. Sometimes people can be a little overzealous sometimes. We love Christ. We want everybody to be saved and stuff. But you can push people away. Sometimes you have to just sit back. I tell people it's like just be that light of Christ. Be that out there because those people will remember more about what they saw you doing than what you spoke about.
That's
You
right.
can go on. I see people all the time that post things and put biblical quotes up, and I know them in person. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you posted that because that is nothing you like your life. But they're like, oh, I'm posting a good Christian meme. Come on, man. I know where your deal is on that. So I'm not trying to judge them, but I'm always like, hey, you know what? People they're going to judge. They're going to respond more to you just what they're watching. How is your life? How you do stuff? And I want to add something real quick. I posted on Facebook earlier this week. I had a student that he was going to have to stop taking lessons because both his parents lost their jobs on the same day. And it was sad because they worked for a Christian organization. There was a lot of restructuring stuff, and they were like, "Man, we can't do it anymore." And I do a lot of charity work, anyways. I have a lot of stuff I teach. A lot of people I teach them for free as much as I can. I mean, I'm a music teacher. I don't make a lot of money. God provides what I need. But I get a lot of donation instruments. People donate. The last conference I went to, people donated money and donated for lessons stuff. But I had a kid. I told him the other day, I was like, look, I'm just going to pull you off of it. And they're like, hopefully we'll get back here in about a month or so. But I didn't want to fill the spot. I was like, okay, I'm sitting on it. I was like, God's got something planned here. I kid you not. Today, I don't know if you can see this. This says Mr. Kenny on it. I don't know if I'm flipped around or not. There's a little minion with a guitar on it. One of my students, he's 11 years old. Some of my people that have been on stuff, some church people I know, some of these people I've never met in person in my entire life. Facebook friends, kind of like Sarah. I mean, it's like, there's people that are in this realm, but there's some people that are other podcasts and involved with other churches and stuff. And they saw one time, they were like, hey, we put our money together. We want to buy that kid a new guitar. And this is the kid they bought. And he deserved it, man. I told him. And so he was doing stuff. So that kid got that. And he's a special kid. He's 11. Well, I kid you not. He brought this to me today. And in it was $50. Now, $20 of this was his own money. His own money. He talked to me today and he said, Mr. Kenny, I heard that story about your student and I felt that I wanted to do something. His own money. He's an 11-year-old boy, $20. Now, his birthday's coming up. He says, I'll probably get some birthday money, but I realize that this is what needs to be done. And him doing that, him saying his parents and said, okay, we're going to do another 30 to it. So they brought me $50. That way that kid can take lessons the rest of this month. It's in half of what I normally charge, but but to me, it was perfect because now I got the spot. They get to come back. I just sent him a message a little ago. And that's just to me, that's why I tell people that's the kind of stuff that to me just makes everything. It's worth it. God is so good. And I love that these young people, and that's part of what I tell my ministry. So I tell people all the time, if you're ever interested, I take all kinds of things. People will donate instruments, and I give a lot of instruments away to people. And I have a guy that works with me who helps repair them, and that stuff still takes some money. So people will message me and say something. The last time I was going up to get the last ECP treatments I had, and it was a little more money this time. I didn't quite have enough to fill it out. I was like, okay, we're going to wait and see how we get there and stuff. And I was going to speak at Strangeland the next weekend after for Tom Dunn's in Mansfield, Ohio. And a couple that I've met online, I met them at Go There For. They messaged and said, hey, we're going to be there. We're so excited to see you. Messaged me and said, hey, guess what? We're not going to come to Strangeland. because we want to donate that money to you to take care of your medical expenses for the rest of the day. I'm like, what? I was like, man, I wanted them to be there. They're like, no, we'll watch it online, dude. This is what, and they knew it. And I was like, that kind of stuff right there is just, man, it's amazing. And it was so cool that that could happen. So I know they're coming to the other one, so I'll get to see them there. And I'm excited about that. But so I'm rambling all kinds of stuff, but I do have a lot of cool things with frequencies I'm doing. A lot of people have asked, where's this book you've been talking about for 3 years? And I'm going to tell you what happened to me. I wrote a lot and Defenders really waiting for me to put this together. I've done a lot of frequency things on their the streaming conferences. I've done 4 now with them, which is crazy. I mean, I'm just this music teacher. My parents still laugh every time they see these conferences, and it says Dr. Judd Burton, Dr. Such and Milk and stuff, and Kenny C. And she's like, "What?" And I'm like, "How did this happen?" I'm like, "I don't know." But
God.
it's one of those things. It's God, but a lot of those people that I love so much like that, they don't talk down to me on stuff. They're like, dude, you are this great in between that loves to research and can read and talk with us. All these ones will have our alphabet soup after our names and stuff. He says, but you're reaching people that we can't reach. You're reaching some other people there. And I'm like, I never thought about it for a long time. I was like, you know what? That is my thing. That's what it is. I love that place. I read a lot, I research a lot. But I will say this, in doing all this frequency stuff, I got really discouraged because everything I came across was so steeped in the new age movement. I was like, I want this to be biblical. It has to be biblical. I cannot push any of this without it. And it kept getting worse. And I kept realizing, I was like, I don't think it's going to happen. And I told the guys, they were like, dude, we're trying to work at a time to talk about it. It's like, I just don't think it's going to happen. And I stepped away from it for a while. For about a year, I stepped back into it. And then I'm going to tell you what happened. God decides, he's like, okay, well, guess what? Now it's time. I'm getting ready. I'm like, I go speak at this conference in 2 months. I had nothing new to talk about. They were like, you're going to talk on frequencies, right? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to talk on frequencies. And I really didn't want to. I felt like that most of my ministry stuff now had been based around me teaching lessons and encouragement type stuff. And the frequency thing had just kind of, I felt had filtered out. I was like, I can't make this work for me. So this is crazy stuff right here. A person who is a scientist from Belgium happened to come to a show I was playing at on New Year's Eve in 2023. I barely met them for a moment. I knew who they were. We became friends on Facebook. They followed me and watched what was going on with it. Now they were one of these people that's like into everything that, from Belgium. English is not her first language. She came to America. She was in Nashville. She played music. She had songs. She had all this stuff, but she had this secret thing with frequency that she was working on, research that did not know about. And so she was like coming with all this stuff, and I didn't know that's what she was doing. And I saw something come up on her page about these frequencies. She had a company, and it was called RDR Sonata. I don't know if I have one of my things around here. I can see. Oh, here's my things. It says Kenny's on it because people were trying to steal my box at the last conference. It's like, stop taking these are mine. So the Kenny box. But yeah, RDR Sonata. And this is where I want to tell you, where I really was like, I kind of got burned on it and I really didn't want to do it anymore because I didn't feel like they could push it. So within 2 months of me meeting this person, we started talking. I realized God was like, He put her in my life on purpose. She came to my show on New Year's Eve this year, wasn't supposed to be there. This is the other thing. Check this out. This is crazy. Research, she flies jets for medevac. She actually is a jet pilot. So this is one of these people you're like, she's really unique in who she is, right? And she kind of came into the stuff. She ran the spiritual aspect, went through the stuff. What's really amazing is it took bringing her to me to where it really clicked for the God thing to kick in. And matter of fact, what I brought to the table for them convinced them to change some things with their next stuff because they realized that I said there's things here that I don't agree with. And I had a problem because I had this thing, and I will show you. I have an actual set. This is a set right here. These are proprietary headsets you can get. Now, to me, I love, look, music, frequency, God to me, he's got everything and that stuff. So, but I couldn't find anything. And I was finding myself, uh, I couldn't utilize some of the frequency stuff I'd find. All the stuff that was free on YouTube, I felt was embedded stuff, made me feel terrible. I couldn't, I just didn't like it. I was like, I'm having all these issues from listening to stuff. And I was like, something's not right here. Something's not clicking with me. And I had a lot of friends and stuff. People had bought in, spent a lot of money on stuff that was like the Spooky 2 and all these stuff, Rife machinery. And I mean, I've studied all that and it's really neat. It's amazing stuff. But what I found was the biggest thing was I just wanted to help people. I was like, if I'm going to do something with frequencies, I want it to help them and it needs to be easy. So lo and behold, here's this headset right here, like this RDR Sonata. This thing has like maybe like 4 buttons on it total. This thing is great. This thing is set up for, it's got 7 basic sounds: pain, focus. There's these different ones. They narrowed it down to a basic headset, right? And made it so you could keep it in a basic range. So I think these are running like $222, but it's all inclusive. The set, this isn't for anything else. It's the sounds are built into it. But the one thing that shocked me was that they had one for PTSD. Now, what she does, and the person who's her CEO is a woman who is in the military. They designed this mainly to be used for veterans at veteran hospitals, so they didn't have to take medication. So they're using this headset, and now this is what's crazy about it. This is what I knew God has his way in on it. I said, what a great thing. There's like so many people, and it had to be something that was simple enough for them to use. And for older people too, I was like, I want something that it's not going to be this, oh God, you got to do this. You got to reset your computer. You got to, you got to shoot this. Here's all these frequency sounds. Nope. 7 sounds. 7 sounds. Now, when we got into it, I started looking, I was like, this is it. This is what I'm supposed to do. And yes, I know my meds are due at 9 o'clock. Thank you, computer. I just I just heard it tell me, yes, meds. Okay, yeah. And then they put up another thing here. Let me mark that out of the way. Sorry. All right. So the I met with her about 3 months ago, and I loved when I was talking about it. I was like, this is amazing. But what I really was shocked about it was that the fact was I was like, I want just like me this. Look, I'm a God person. I have faith like nobody else, man. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be boosted in all this science stuff, but I know a lot of people that do want it to be there. So she started bringing out all these lab result tests of all the stuff, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is amazing. This is amazing. God is definitely it's like, okay, well, here it is. Here's the real deal with it. Not just some woo type stuff. Oh, this will do it. Because there's nothing worse than watching ads on Facebook that have a sleep mask and it says, hey, buy this sleep mask for $300 and you can manifest your dreams and women and money. And I look at it and I'm like, I got that mask on Temu for $10. That thing ain't doing nothing, man. I have that mask. And I looked at it. But what's funny is a lot of people buy into that stuff. And I'm like, I'm not a manifest person. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in the law of attraction, all that. But you know what? Everybody goes through that period. There was a time period when I studied a lot of that because I didn't know. And I thought God put me in that place with that. Well, guess what? Boop, these things come along. I was like, this is amazing. And I'm going through the sounds. And I was like, focus, PTSD. This is amazing, man. This is working stuff. And then I came across one. I was like, did that just say manifest? And she said, yeah, it says manifest. I was like, oh, red flag. I can't do it. I was like, this is enough for me. And I really thought about it. I was like, I'm not gonna do this. And I kid you not, God came on my heart and he said, Kenny, are you going to throw away everything that I've created because you don't like the way that word sounds or something? And what's really funny is I went to her and told her, I said, I'm having trouble with this. It's a red flag thing for me. And she says, what is it? And she started talking about it and it's like, well, that's not the way I think manifest. And I said, well, everybody else, she goes, you know what? People are talking to me about it. And I said, and so she's realized that that is a word that she does not want to be associated with. So the next round that's coming in, they're going to change it. They're taking it off of it, which is great. I love it. But I will say this, I did a lot of research and found stuff, and the way she talked about it and a biblical aspect of manifest was very different because I found the word manifest so many times in the Bible. I started doing a lot of charts on it. I have this when I speak. I'll show it at the conference. But it made me realize, and I looked at it, I was like, God, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do with it. And I tell people all the time, it's like, you know what? Here's the thing. Out of the 7, if you don't like that, it's like for me, I don't use it. I don't use that one. I don't like it. I don't like the connotation of it. But the other ones are absolutely fantastic because I've seen the lab work that it works on stuff. Now, here's what's really cool, and I may have to send a thing on this. These run about 222, I think. Veterans get them for 150. If you're a veteran and show you something, you can get this for 150. And this is what's great. I've seen this work on people. Now, here's the cool thing. These things are already being utilized in veteran VA hospitals now as treatment instead of medication and drugs. Isn't that crazy? It's amazing. So I'm watching this and I was like, okay, all right, God, we got this on this. So she got me to this, great. And then I turn around, let me see where my other ones are. I have some others here too. Okay, so now I have a prototype here. This is the one that really got me excited. This is the I have, well, they're coming in pretty right, but this is a bone conductive headset. Now, what's amazing about this, you put it up here, it's not in your ears, it's right on your temple, and you play. So here's the cool thing about it. You can run these frequency things when you're working, talking. Nobody else hears it. It's in your head. It's a bone conductive, and it does the same things. Now, this is pretty cool. I like this one. This is good. I think this is that the pre-order was going for about $99, which is fantastic. They just came in with those. But here's the other part with this I really like. If you don't like messing with a lot of stuff, this is it. Seven sounds. Perfect. The other one there is a headset. It's Bluetooth. You can use it for anything, any kind of music. But we have an app, and that's where I jumped on board with it. The app, you can create the way their technology works with it. They have different sounds for different treatments. So you can pull up app, and I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not. I'll show it to you. But let me see what I find it here. So the app itself has about 72 or so different sounds on it. And let me see what I got right here. Let me go to this thing right here. And I'll show you what comes up to it. Let's go create my sound. Okay, so I'm in the app right here. I don't know if anybody can see this at all, but it has a whole lot of stuff on here. Now, this is what's amazing. I'm going to check this out. So it's got all the things on there. ADHD, anger, autism, bladder. It's got all the stuff you see, all these ones you have to set for. They've already done the research on it. They found it. It recreates pathways, electrical in your brain. I was like, this is mind-bogglingly cool. I use it. I have found that when I put it on focus, I can read. I study the Bible with the sound on, and it sticks with me. It's one of these things. I love it. It does good. But it also works with other things, too. And it's just like I tell people that what's great about it is that you can use it yourself. The app will go with any headphone. You can use the app, and the app you can create. But here's what's different. You can do 3 at a time. You can pick and create your own sounds. So, like, I will sometimes go through some stuff. Let me see if I can pull some up here for mine. I have stuff like diabetic, sleep, and weight loss. That's one I need all the time. So I use that a lot, and it's helped me with my stuff. A lot of them, I think, tinnitus issues. I'm a musician. Half of my hearing is gone from years of playing stuff. Trauma, anxiety. I create stuff all the time. If I'm having a week and I'm like, man, the meds are messing with me, I'll do constipation, pain, stomach. I'll combine those, listen to them. But I always tell people, none of this is like, it's just like telling people that go on a diet. You don't eat a salad one day and the next day oh, I'm good. Let's go. We're back. It takes time. It takes time to get your brain to retrain itself to create pathways for this stuff. So I really enjoy it. I love listening to it. I have a sleep mask. I use with it too. So, but I've got a special thing here, and I might send you guys a code for this. That if you want to go check out the app is RDR Sonata, and it's on both iPhone and Android. But RDR Sonata, that's the thing on the front of that. I think I had it. That's the logo. It looks like this. RDR Sonata. You can find that. Now, here's what's cool. The app is $9.99 a month, and they're adding stuff to it all the time and creating new things. But here's the cool thing about it. If you go on the app and put in the code Kenny10, you're gonna get a 7-day free trial, and you can stop after that if you don't want it. You can try it out. It's a really cool thing to go check out. I've been really happy with this. I also have a code that they gave me for this one. If you're really interested, I love this one because not only does it do headphones like this, it has an external speaker. You can place it in a room and have it on while you're doing things. I listen in my car without headsets on. It does the same thing. The process of the ears going to binaural type stuff. But what's really cool about this one, it's got speakers. I kid you not. I use this on my dog. It's got the app actually has animal settings on it. One of my dogs is completely petrified of fireworks and loud sounds. I mean, we can't do anything on the 4th of July. One of us has to stay home, and usually I'm working. Somebody has to be there because he will completely lose his mind and come home and he is petrified. So I've been using this stuff onto it. Now we're actually getting a dog collar when coming for animals soon that they can put on and do the sound with it. But you can literally put this down on the floor next to him and the sound will come out of the speaker there. So like I have it in my head. Let me see if I can get this on right quick. I'll show you. Let's see. Let me cut this on. Okay, so I've got the PTSD sound on here. Now, that's in my head. Now, can you hear that? That is coming out of the speaker. Now, it's in the speaker, but it's also external. You can play this in your room for anybody. And that's the sound, that's the PTSD sound. So it's amazing. I was like, wow, this is really cool. This one's very simple to use. It's got the different sounds on it. Let me see what else it has on here. You can control the volume.
How do we buy that one, Kenny?
I'm telling you, it is so cool. Here's the thing, I've got a code for this one specifically for people on here to Watchmen tonight. Let me find this real quick. I might be able to throw it up on here actually. Where's it at? I just had it. Oh, where is it at now? And I've lost my thing now. Where are you guys at? Okay, here's my Zoom. Oh, I think I've lost. There we go. There you guys are. I was going to see if I could pull this up on the page here. Might not. I might just have to show it, or I can send it to you guys. But it's basically, let me see. They made it for me today. I was like, can I have a code for these stuff like that? So here it is. Now, if you live near me, that's great because a lot of people do not. So I live in Virginia. I can get it without shipping. But here is the discounted Sonata shipping. Let me pull this up here. And this is basically if you can get that QR code there, it'll give you $20 off on it. And you can put in Kenny 10 and you can try that's for any of them. Now I will tell you this, I love the standalone. Now this does not have Bluetooth. You can't use it for anything else. This is frequency or only, but I love it. I think it's fantastic. It's so easy because I could put it on people that have very limited movement with their hands, any kind of arthritis and stuff. They can put it on with nothing. It's not that hard to use. Now these are Bluetooth and you can use them for any kind of stuff. Now these are special. They're actually most bone connecting headphones are about 16 ohms. These are 32, specifically to do more vibrations into the bone situation. So there's a lot. If you go on to look on the internet, their website, RDR, all this is on here. When I speak at the conference, I have stuff in my slide projection that has links to all of the lab stuff. You can spend weeks looking through it. It is absolutely fascinating. I feel glad because I feel like God put me back in this. What's amazing is that the person that I'm working with their company, it brought them closer to God. They were very spiritual, but this has changed them. They're now realizing that what I'm doing with this, they're like getting ready to get baptized. And I was so excited because I had to tell people, I said, I don't want to support companies that aren't, you have stuff, but I'm like, knowing that she's going this path now is amazing to me. It's amazing. So I just talked to her earlier, but it's like I said, I have this. I might just send this to you guys and see if I can send it to Mike and he could put it up. I don't know if the website or something. But if you're on here tonight and you do that, or you can reach me on Facebook. It's really easy. Sarah will tell you. You can find the Rock with Kenny C. I'm on Facebook and come on there. You'll see a lot of stuff with my kids, my ministry stuff, music. But also you can message me, send me a private message and say, hey, send me that code. I'll send you the code and it'll get you $20 off for whatever. Now that's for the big headset. Small headsets are running they just came out. I only had the only prototype. And what's really funny is the language was in, I don't know what Belgium, I don't know what that is, but everything would be like, you're gonna die. And I'm like, what is that one? I don't know what that is. And she'd say, that's this one. I'm gonna say, super. I'm like, okay, let's try that one. I didn't know. I could listen to it, knew what the sound was, but I got to try them out before they went on sale. So it's amazing. If you buy these, which run about $99, they're shipping now, you get a whole free month of the app. to start out and try with it. But if you use Kenny 10 on the app, if you go in there and put it in there, they're going to give you 7 free days regardless. And what I tell people, this is my deal. I had somebody that got it at a conference. They didn't feel that it worked for them. And I told them, I said, this wasn't with the company. This is me as my personal thing. I said, I will give you your money back. I will eat that. To me, I don't want to sell anything that's something people don't want or can't use. Now, what's funny is when I talked about that, they thought about it again and went, yeah, you know what? I told them, I said, you need to give it a little more time. Because they were like, I'm a tax preparer. It's tax season. This is not helping me get my brain together. I said, you are under the most stress ever right now. Are you kidding me? Nothing. That's not going to, I was like, it ain't going to help you. But guess what? You need to give it time. And they did. They sat on it. And guess what? They decided to keep it. Because they were like, you know what, you're right. I was like, you can't, this isn't quick fix. This isn't like I jump on the treadmill and I'm running a marathon tomorrow. It is stuff you have to do daily. You have to put that time. Now, I love it because for me, I love putting on the frequency stuff and being able to just zone everything else out. I put that on. I put my Bible readings. I did all of that. I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was plowing through Gary Wayne's second book, the what is it, Genesis Conspiracy Part 2? That big, these things are like 900 pages. Like they're massive. I got stuck on it. Was like, man, I'm having trouble reading it. It's great, but I was having trouble reading it. And I got up about 3 o'clock in the morning one night, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to try this. So I put the focus on, put my thing and started reading. And I kid you not, I started reading faster and the comprehension was more. And I told him next day, I was like, all right, that's crazy. My brain, it's like your brain knew where to go with it. It was like I was able to read faster. I wasn't repeating myself. I wasn't like getting ADHD and off of it. So I just think it's amazing. I think it's cool. I'm real excited about it because to me, I was really getting out of it. I was like, I'm done. I don't want to deal with this. I had so many people talking to me about it. I'm just like, I just wasn't feeling it. But this to me, I feel like God put it into place, and I really support what they're doing. I think it's a good thing. And it's not that much too, man. I will say this. About 2 years ago, I had a frequency company. I'm not going to talk, so I'm going to say who they are. They came to me with a frequency watch. And one of them, the bare bones one, was about $800. And the monster good one that everybody wants, well, you really need this one, is $1,600. I said, I can't afford that. Why would I sell that to people? I can't even afford that. That's ridiculous. I want something. So when they came to me and said, this is what we're trying to sell it at, and they're selling at discounts, I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. I mean, look, I tell people, look, look, you want to make money and do things. I do it with teaching. I would teach for free if I could do that. But but the fact is, the money's not the underlying factor. They're trying to help people, and their stories of talking about them, where they came from, is incredible. It's an amazing journey. You can read a lot of this on their website and stuff, but yeah, it's a lot of stuff that's going into it. I know I'm rambling. I'm like, you guys, it's like 9:15. Kenny's just talking for like an hour and a half straight. No one got any words in. How about anybody got any questions? How about that?
You know what, Kenny? I got to tell you, we're
buddy.
so humbled by what you've talked about tonight. And, you and I are true brothers.
Yeah,
You were
absolutely.
the first person that reached out to me when you found out I'd had my heart issue.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
again, when I nearly died in a car accident in July.
Yep.
And, we had the whole Tom Horn experience and all that stuff. Jeannie and I had very much the same thing. So it's also, you are the epitome of what Hear the Watchman is, because our goal is to lift people up to be speakers like you. When Mike Spalding came to the first conference that we did, that we had him speak, at a very, very small audience. And now look at him, and it's wonderful.
Oh no, he's great. I love
You,
Mike.
you know, David Heavener, that's a classic. David Heavener came to Boise with some little things and said, could you guys maybe help,
Yeah.
spread the word about this? And we became close, and we've done a lot of stuff. So that's
Yeah.
what
I
this
love
is
David.
all about. When you're a part of the remnant body,
Yeah.
that's what it's about, lifting people up. And that's what we want to do in Springfield. But you cannot get it if you're just going to watch it. You got to be there. And
That's it. Mhm.
when Tom passed away, ever since he passed away, I wanted to do something to honor him. And I
Mhm.
finally have the chance with this conference, but it's grown into not just honoring Tom, but honoring the Horn family. I mean, look, we have Nita speaking, we have
Absolutely.
Joe speaking, we have Donna speaking.
Yep.
You know, and the thing is to show them, Joe walked into it. I mean, God bless him. I mean, he and I used to talk, and he said, I have no idea what I'm doing. And I said, don't worry about it, brother. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other. So we're really looking forward to seeing you out there. Uh,
Absolutely.
Folks, if you want to get a hold of Kenny, you're welcome to just email me and I'll connect you guys.
Absolutely.
We
Yeah,
still,
if I'll help anybody, anything I can do if they want to talk about anything, want to know some stuff about frequencies or anything like that, message me. I'll get back to, I try to get back to everybody I can. I'm very, which sometimes it's tough because now that people know I have so many people. Here's the thing. I don't sit around looking for memes all day. I have people that just do that. They just send them to me. And if people are like, "What?" I'm like, "They just send me the best cool memes. They're funny dad jokes and stuff." I don't have time. I teach like 10, 12 hours a day. So, I mean, I'm very, very busy and it's funny. I got a business call with Donna Howell. We got something going with her tomorrow, which is great. So, I'm excited about that. So yeah, you reach Mike, and do that. And like I said, if you're coming out to the actually be there, I'll have even special deals and better things. You can buy one there and try it out and see. So I'll have the headphones with me. I'll have a lot of our t-shirts and stuff going to it. We have a place called Light Hive Creations. It's a faith-based t-shirt company. We do things with all that. Sarah can tell you we do a lot of stuff. I'm sorry your cup fell apart. We'll get you another one. Happens. That's okay. The last thing I went to, man, I packed them and they fell out of my car and all the glass they shattered before I got in the conference. I was like, oh God, so crazy stuff. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Mike, I'm gonna make a video for you this next week too. Just talking about things for us getting people. I hope people come out for it. I think it's gonna be amazing. I really do. We need to make this happen.
awesome. So, you guys get on board. Like I said, if you can't afford the ticket, talk to me. Get on board and come out. And all of us that come on this have watched Skywatch TV for years.
Mhm.
Now's your chance to stand up and show them how much you appreciate that. You can't do that watching the stream, but be a part of it. And we'll see you all there. Kenny, again, thank you so much
Absolutely. Thank you guys.
for being a part of it.
Kenny.
And
Thank
folks,
you.
we're over time, which I don't care about. I don't care about much anymore, but I'm going to leave you.
One time I was like, I'm going. This is great, man. I love it. I love doing stuff, man.
I'm going to
Shoot,
leave you with one thing that I want you to always remember. The last words that my dad ever said to me when he died was not, "You've been a great son and I love you." He said, "Never give up and always help people." And he died. You know, do that and you'll always be fine.
absolutely.
But thank
Absolutely.
you. You gave me a shot in the arm tonight. So I hope
Yeah, man. I was glad you invited me, man. I was excited to come on here. I love the organization. You got a lot of good people side. So, like you were saying real quick with Mike Spalding and David Havner. Back a couple years ago, I was supporting David Havner around 2017, 2018. He knew I was in the hospital. He goes, "Hey, I got a guy who wants to pray for you." It was Dr. Mike Spalding. It's the first time I met him through an email.
it's
And
amazing.
I didn't realize that until 5 years later. I went back and looked at it and went, wait a minute. I was like, Mike, and that's just the way God works, man. Just putting people where they need to be. It's amazing. So everybody come out to the conference. It's going to be amazing. Seriously. It's a great place. Springfield's a cool place there, and you're really close to Crane, and all the Skywatch people will be there. I'm excited. I'm very
Got to
excited.
hear the Watchmen, MEN.com. Get yourself signed up, and we will see you there. Kenny, again, thank you. Everybody else
Absolutely.
in here, we'll see you Tuesday with a whole new series from Tracy Tennant on spiritual warfare. So God bless each and every one of you. Have a wonderful weekend.
All right. Thank you.